Evening, welcome to the last Cabinet of 2025. Merry Christmas, everybody. There you go. Before we start, Councillor Jill Taylor wishes to say a few words.
Thank you, Leader. I just wanted to say a few words because Andrew Billany is leaving the authority in about the middle of January, and I just wanted to say a few words about him. He's been here for around about 5 years, and a lot of the performance of housing has been down to Andrew, working with the previous authority and also working with us. Together, we're all making a real difference in Dorset for our residents. He's also been a great support to me since I took on this role last year. Housing is always challenging and is nearly always about thinking outside the box. There are times I have challenged him to do more, to solve almost the impossible, and I know he'll always go away and he'll come back and he'll either say, well, that's not a bad idea, we can do that, or the normal one that councillors will be used to. Thank you, councillor, for that suggestion, but it won't work in Dorset because... But what he's always done is then always come back with an alternative and said, but we could do it like this. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank him for all he's done for Dorset and to say I'll miss him. But I have adopted his mantra, which I will carry on doing, which is housing is everybody's business. And it gets slightly changed because it becomes everybody's issue, everybody's problem, but the bottom line is all of our residents have to be housed somewhere. Just reflecting on this, safe, secure, affordable housing is a priority for this council. I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome Ian Sim as our new interim head of housing. He started yesterday and I'm looking forward to taking housing forward with him. I think he's going to be a great asset to this council, and I think he's somewhere in the room, so I won't embarrass him anymore. And thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I'm sure we all wish Andrew well in his next job. Just as a reminder, if you speak, please introduce yourself at the beginning. Devices on silent, all that usual stuff. So item 1 is apologies. Are there any apologies?
Yes, Chairman, we have apologies from Councillor Ben Wilson.
Thank you. Minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of November 2025. Any member of the Cabinet got an issue with accuracy? No, not saying anything, in which case I'll sign them later. Item 3, declarations of interest. We have some. So Councillor Clifford.
Councillor Simon Clifford, Cabinet Member for Finance and Capital Strategy. I declare an interest in item 14 as I'm Dorset's representative and a director of the Local Enterprise Partnership. I've taken advice and I will leave the chamber.
Thank you, Councillor Clifford. I have a declaration of interest as well. This is on item 9. It's the Dorset National Landscape Partnership Management Plan. So I sit on the board, so I've taken advice from Mr. Mayor, and I will vacate the chair and leave the room. And Councillor Wilson would have done the same if he was in the room as well. And Councillor Biggs will take the chair. And okay, so next one is public participation. There are no questions from the public. Item 5, questions from members. There's no questions from members. Item 6, forward plan. 4 plans in the agenda pack. Any members of the Cabinet wish to note anything or speak on those items? No. I will mention that we did have to pull a paper tonight, which was the Statement of Reasonable Expectations, which was authored by DAPTC in conjunction with their members. It came across a bit of a sticky wicket, I think, in overview, so we've taken that out, and it'll come back probably in January for consideration by Cabinet once it's been reworked. So the next item is the Council Progress Report. So I will be introducing this, and I think Councillor Taylor will be seconding. So I do have some words to say, which if I get to the beginning. So the first paper tonight is the Council Plan Progress Report, which reflects the foundational work undertaken throughout the year to enable effective delivery of the Council Plan in future years. As we've seen throughout Cabinet meetings this year, many of the items brought forward strongly align with Dorset Council's priorities. This evening's agenda is no exception, particularly in demonstrating our commitment to tackling the climate and nature emergency. Importantly, the benefits of these decisions reach across all our priorities, including communities for all, as we continue to break down silos and maximise impact. This integrated approach ensures that prevention and early intervention remain at the heart of our work, delivering improvements in health, well-being and environmental outcomes. While this mid-year update is primarily a qualitative approach, it marks an important step towards a more data-driven approach. We have launched a transparent council plan reporting dashboard, which will present quarterly data updates, and this report serves as a precursor to the comprehensive qualitative end-of-year performance report due for Cabinet in summer 26. The purpose of this update is threefold: to share progress on the foundational work underpinning each of our council plan priorities, to highlight early delivery successes, including case studies, and finally, to confirm the establishment of the council plan monitoring framework, including a public performance dashboard for transparent reporting. Some of our priority areas build on good work undertaken by the previous administration, whilst others reflect a new direction of travel. There is no doubt that much remains to be done, and the operating environment remains challenging. This is why we need to redouble our efforts to focus on our priorities in the coming months and years, the priorities that were created after many conversations with our residents. So the Cabinet is asked to note the recommendations in the report, and I'll leave it there for the seconder to speak if she wishes. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Jill Taylor, Cabinet Member for Housing and Health. I'd very much like to second this, and I'd quite like to speak now, but happy to answer any questions. I felt I had to speak because one of the big priorities for this council is housing. And I sometimes think that we don't get our statistics out there well enough, because we are actually doing really, really well. The two areas of this report I'd like to speak to are our homelessness figures and our housing supply. Homelessness, over the last 5 years, we've had a reduction of around about 30% in our use of TA. It's slightly going up at the moment, but then it goes up, it comes down, so we are doing really, really well. But I just wanted to put it into perspective. When you align all the unitary authorities across the country, we're roughly in about the top 4 for our underuse of TA. We're using roughly about 200 units for our temporary accommodation. Putting that into perspective, I picked up a figure today. Brighton and Hove have got over 5,000 in temporary accommodation. A lot of the London authorities have over 3,000 in temporary accommodation. We've got less than 200. So we are doing really, really well. Does that mean we should be complacent? No, it shouldn't. Not at all. We can do a lot better. So how have we done this? A lot of it has been by focusing on prevention. And we've done a lot of work over the last few years, looking really upstream at how people become homeless and how we can actually prevent homelessness. So we've put staff into all sorts of interesting places where you find people becoming homeless. So we've got staff in hospitals, prison discharge, domestic abuse victims, but we've also worked really well with landlords to prevent and manage tenants becoming homeless. The other part I wanted to talk on was the housing supply, because you'll see in 420 that it says we have 74 affordable homes completed by September 25. I just wanted to give an update on that. The latest figure I've got, because I looked at that and thought that feels a little bit low to me. The latest update I've got is that we have 164 so far this year. This includes things like Hardy House, 3 acquisitions that we've done under the LUF programme, which are just what we are doing internally. Externally, we've got some really big things coming on. We've had the Ponderosa, we've had Poundbury, we've had Way Valley, Sturminster Newton, Alderholt, Littlemore and Gillingham. So we've got a lot of houses coming. This quarter is fairly quiet, but it will undoubtedly pick up in the next quarter as the Homes England Affordable Homes Programme comes to an end in 2026. There will be a lot of pressure on registered providers to deliver homes So we're expecting to get there or thereabouts for our 450 target. And I think that is all I would like to say. I'm looking forward to next year when Homes England's Social and Affordable Homes Programme starts. There's 27 billion money for that, looking at delivering over 300,000 homes across the country. And bidding will start for that in February. So I will be working with registered providers and working on projects ourselves to take that forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I'll take questions now. We've got Steve Ford and Liz Crocker in the room to answer any questions, which neither I myself or Jill Taylor can't answer. So anybody want to ask any questions? No? None at all? Councillor Sutton?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just a really quick comment under Communities for All, the 2 targets which belong with children's services. So I just want to draw attention to the fact that we're really on track at 4.81 and 4.82. It's evidence that educational outcomes have improved since 2024, especially for disadvantaged pupils, really important, and are now above the national average for children with an EHCP at Key Stage 2. On increased care leaver engagement in education, employment and training, the target was to increase this to 65%. We're currently at 73%, so we're exceeding the target there, which doesn't mean we'll be slowing down, obviously. How we've done that is fleshed out at 4.8, 4.85, and in the case study in Appendix 2, which I'd encourage people to read if they haven't done so. I just want to quickly reference in 4.74, it references Children's Services Outstanding Ofsted rating in March. And I just wanted to say, in public really, that a core element of this achievement has been the, well, indeed, outstanding commitment of staff across the whole team. Just to assure everyone that there's no complacency, we're acutely aware of current challenges, but they're working their socks off, and I wanted to say a sincere thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Sutton. One of the exciting bits for me is the public dashboard, actually. It's really show how we are performing. So it's part of being open and transparent and honest. If we've got no other questions, we'll just go to a vote, I think, show of hands. So all those in favour of the recommendations as laid out? That's unanimous. Thank you. And we'll move on to the next agenda item. So the next one is the Dorset Local Nature Recovery Strategy, which is something dear to my heart. So this is a national project in England, I should say. Dorset is the lead member down here in conjunction with BCP, who are our partners. But it's not just the 2 councils. There are lots and lots of people involved in this. It's already been approved by BCP at Cabinet, and it's also been approved by DEFRA. So this is the last stage, and then it becomes a real thing. Some areas of the country are ahead of us, such as Weka, and they are now in a delivery phase, which we will be soon. So we've set up a delivery organisation. It's a delivery group, which is representative of everybody, essentially, who's been involved. And it says in Recommendation 3 that the Cabinet thanks the contributions of stakeholders. This has really been a catalyst for getting people together. It's been a huge amount of work, and I'd like to thank Bridget Bretts and Amy Smith, who are in the room to answer questions, for the huge amount of effort they've put in. And that's about it, really. It's in there. It's a huge amount of work. And the really important bit is it's going to become embedded in what we do in terms of our policies. It'll inform what we do. And going forward, it involves collaboration with landowners, farmers, individuals, and lots of other people in between. So I fully recommend it to Council and Cabinet, I should say. And Councillor Sutton will second.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is extremely welcome. Delighted to second.
Thank you. Any questions, Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Piers Brown. I represent the Cranbourne Chase ward. Just had a quick question. Is it still Dorset Council's belief that farmers provide, that's been rephrased to veterinary medicines, frivolously? And if not, why would they reduce doing so?
Is that actually in the report? Page 141. Do you want to look it up, Bridget and Amy, and respond appropriately?
But there is work to.
We think in, if we can get the page up, we think in the report it does say about veterinary science, but it doesn't say frivolously. I'm not aware of that, but I can take a look at that.
The word frivolously isn't used. The point I'm trying to make is, why would a farmer be providing antibiotics to their livestock if it wasn't required? And therefore, why would we suggest that they didn't if it is required for the health of the animal?
I understand now, sorry. So all those activities and things that are put in, that you're talking about, are recommended by the farmers themselves. So we didn't write those. So that was what they thought needed to happen in some areas of farming. So that's. Did you want to add to that?
All I would add is absolutely not an expert and wouldn't intend, the strategy is not intend to dictate to someone who is a farmer how they must farm, because that's for them to decide. But there is some growing evidence that in some cases, because that's just the way farming went, that some medicines are administered kind of routinely as a more like a preventative rather than as and when required. And that is an individual decision for a farmer with their vet to decide is the best case for that individual farm. And the strategy doesn't intend to override that, but it doesn't mean to say that we mustn't ever look at that or question that, because some farmers are questioning that or looking at what else they might be able to use to maybe to kind of have more natural measures to reduce disease occurrence and things. But yeah, the strategy is not trying to dictate what a farmer would do without veterinary advice.
I'm not here to have a debate. That isn't my understanding from talking to farmers. Practices have moved on from the days of providing predominantly antibiotics en masse to livestock. But I thank the officers for their response, and I hope members of the committee form that as part of their considerations and where they vote.
It's probably worth me clarifying that, yes, as Bridget and Amy said, farmers have been quite heavily involved in this through the Dorset NFU, through organisations such as the Dorset Local Nature Partnership, where farmers sit on, and it has been out to consultation. So I think we can be fairly confident that what's in there is reflective of what the consultees and everybody who had input into the document wishes to be in there. Any other questions? Nope. Nothing. In which case, does any member of the Cabinet disagree with the recommendations as set out? No, in which case, in the absence of any disagreement, that's passed. So congratulations, Bridget and Amy. Thank you. So the next agenda item is the one I need to leave for, so I will vacate the room and hand over to Richard Biggs.
Evening. Yes, Councillor Richard Biggs, Economic Growth and Property and Assets, Poundbury Ward, Dorchester. Yes, delighted to take you through this particular report. I believe that Councillor Bartlett is going to propose it, and I'll let you take away.
Thank you, Councillor Biggs. Yeah, in the absence of Councillor Ireland, I'm going to present this to the Cabinet. So the Dorset National Landscape Management Plan for 2026-2031. Dorset has two national landscapes which it has a statutory duty to protect. It's designated natural beauty for future generations. The Council has a statutory duty to review and adopt a 5-year national landscape management plan for each national landscape in their area, which is why this paper is before you here tonight. A proposed recommendation is laid out in the report, and I believe, Councillor Biggs, you're going to second the paper. Thank you.
Yes, I will be seconding that. I think it's quite self-explanatory within there. I think I fully support the recommendation. Are there any questions from members around there? Sorry. In that case, put it to the vote, please. Those willing to accept the recommendation. In favour. Thank you. Just going to get Councillor Ireland back into the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10 is something similar. It's the adoption of the Cranbourne Chase National Landscape Management Plan. So over to Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you, Chairman. Remiss of me, I didn't say who I was last time. So Councillor Shane Bartlett, Cabinet Member for Planning and Emergency Planning and Ward Member for Wimbledon. So the adoption of the Cranbourne Chase National Landscape Partnership Plan. The Cranbourne Chase National Landscape is one of two designated national landscapes in Dorset, the other being the Dorset National Landscape, the management plan for which has also come to this meeting for adoption. Local authorities have statutory duty to prepare and update management plans for national landscapes. They need to be reviewed every 5 years. The Cranbourne Chase National Landscape includes parts of the Wiltshire Council, Dorset Council, Somerset Council and Hampshire County Council and New Forest District Council areas. The officer team is hosted by Wiltshire Council and all the constituent councils contribute towards the cost. Dorset Council is represented on the board by Councillor Sherry Jesperson. The revised Cranbourne Chase National Landscape Management Plan was agreed by the National Landscape Partnership Board earlier this year. After a public consultation on the draft plan, it needs to be adopted by all of the partner local authorities in order to meet our statutory duties. The recommendation therefore is the plan be adopted by this council to meet our statutory duties and to provide a framework for the continued management of national landscape. So, Chairman, I wish to propose we take on the recommendations as laid out in the report, and I believe Councillor Andrews is going to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Joel Andrews, Cabinet Member for Place Services, Sherborne East Ward. Happy to second this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillors Bartlett and Andrews. Anybody want to ask any questions on this one? No. Any member of the Cabinet disagree with the recommendations set out? No, in which case it's passed. Congratulations, Cranbourne Chase. Next item is Councillor Bartlett again. So it's the New Forest Recreation Mitigation Strategy. This has taken a while to get here, but it's finally here. So over to you again, Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, the New Forest Recreation Mitigation Strategy. So the New Forest Heaths are a protected habitat site due to significant forecast and residential increase within the 15 kilometres of the New Forest boundary by 2036. The New Forest National Park Authority have led a group of 9 authorities to bring policies forward regarding securing appropriate mitigation funding from developer contributions of £400 per dwelling. There's been an awful lot of work in the background by officers to bring this here to you tonight. So please, I'd like to recommend the recommendations as laid out in the report, which I proposed to Cabinet, and I believe Councillor Andrews was second. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Joel Andrews, Sherborne East, Cabinet Member for Place Services. Happy to second this recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions on this one? Nope. Oh, Councillor Parry.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Andrew Parry, West Parley Ward. I suppose my challenge to the portfolio holder is to perhaps articulate to us from a political perspective why he feels this is or isn't a stealth tax on development in the county of Dorset in the eastern area.
Thank you, Councillor Andrews. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where we have such constrained land within this part of the country that often these policies are brought forward for mitigation. And the unfortunate thing is that we know that that will have an impact on the delivery of affordable housing going forward, because we will end up in a position where we are in a conversation with developers as statutory planning authority around viability issues. And I can well imagine his concerns, and I share them as well. Thank you.
Councillor Flower.
Thank you very much, Leader. Councillor Flower, Verwood Ward, which is impacted by this. Given all the levies that already exist in terms of new development in Dorset, how is this going to, have we done some number crunching on how it's going to impact on the viability of development going forward?
Chairman, I'll start, but the officers might want to chip in afterwards. As you know, this isn't my it's my paper, but I wasn't in the room when these matters were discussed. We have a statutory responsibility to deliver this, and the other council authorities, the said officers, have put a tremendous amount of work in this, and they have come to the conclusions that they've come to in terms of the sheer increase of population that is proposed or envisaged by 2036 to put those mitigation infrastructure within the New Forest area to protect that precious ecological environment. I don't know if the officers want to add to that.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Mike Garrity, Corporate Director for Planning. I think the point to bear in mind is bearing in mind that there is actually a statutory responsibility for actually mitigating the impact of development. We wouldn't actually be in a position to grant planning permission for that housing development in the first instance if we don't actually mitigate those impacts. So that is a prerequisite of development. The viability argument will obviously come into being when developers are looking at sites. That will affect the value of the land and will come off the price of the land in effect when they're negotiating the value of that. We also have to take that into account when we're looking at viability overall of the plan and the development that comes forward in the local plan. But I think the starting point with all of this is we cannot grant planning permission for development that is likely to lead to an adverse impact on the integrity of a protected habitat. And that's the purpose of the mitigation strategy, is to ensure that we can do that. We've actually been holding back in abeyance the issuing of planning consents in the area, awaiting the actual approval of this document. So we can't issue those consents until we have this in place. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very comprehensive answer. Anybody else? No? Do you want to, let's take a show of hands. So show of hands for all the recommendations on block. That's unanimous. Thank you. So the next agenda item is the thing that I didn't even realise we were allowed to do, but it turns out we can. So this is to do with average speed cameras on the A30 Sherborne dual carriageway. So, Councillor, no, I've jumped one, have I? I've jumped one. Sorry, I have jumped. I have. Okay, the first one's less exciting. So this is a report to change the Cabinet decision of delegations for highway service contract, which is also John Andrews.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor John Andrews, Cabinet Member for Police Services. This report requests an amendment to the Cabinet decision of the 20th of May 2025, as the previous decision could have an unintended effect on disapplying the officer scheme of delegation for Dorset Council. The amendment is needed due to a drafting error in the original report. I didn't really want to sign on every pothole that needed repairing.
Councillor Bartlett, I think you're going to second.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, happy to second. Thank you.
Any questions? It's a bit of an admin thing. No. Anybody disagree with the recommendations? No, in which case it's carried. So we'll get on to the one I was ahead of myself. This is speed cameras, average speed cameras on the A30. So over to you again, Councillor Andrews.
Thank you very much, Chair. Councillor John Andrews, Cabinet Member of Police Services. Well, this report is long overdue, I do believe. This report represents the rationale for installing average speed cameras, enforcement cameras along the A30 to Sherborne to Yeovil dual carriageway, in order to meet the Dorset Council's statutory duty to implement measures that enhance road safety. The introduction of average speed cameras is widely regarded as an effective measure to reduce speeding and lower collision rates, particularly on high-speed roads such as the dual carriageways. In addition, the concerns identified by our own road safety team and His Majesty's coroner was highlighted as significant safety concerns on this route and cautioned that further fatalities are likely if risks are not mitigated. Although the initial installation costs are significant, average speed cameras eliminate the need for regular mobile enforcement cameras and can monitor extended sections of the road continuously. This makes them a cost-effective long-term solution, particularly when compared with the considerable societal and economic costs associated with serious road traffic collisions. The implementation of this measure is therefore considered both necessary and proportionate. Road safety is a statutory duty under Section 39 of the Road Traffic Act 1988 and a strategic priority for the Council. We are committed to the principles of the safe system approach, which recognise the critical importance of speed management across the highway network. Collision data indicates a high number of serious incidents along this stretch, with many vehicles recorded significantly exceeding the posted speed limit. There have been 43 injury collisions on this 4-mile stretch of road, resulting in 63 casualties, including 6 fatalities and 15 seriously injured in the last 10 or 11 years, and countless more prior to that. Hopefully, you will have all read the report and seen the speed data after the 60-mile-an-hour limit was introduced, where vehicles were clocked at going over 110 miles an hour in some places. The local transport plan capital budget provided by the Department for Transport will be used for this scheme. I propose the recommendations set out in this paper.
Thank you, Councillor Andrews. Do we have a seconder? I think it's Councillor Clifford.
Councillor Simon Clifford, Cabinet Member for Finance. So, Councillor Andrews highlighted there the number of deaths in the road in the last 10 years, and he used the phrase, and countless others before that. One of those countless others was a young girl from Overcompton, and I was a young reporter. My very first day, my very first job was to go and interview the parents of a 10-year-old girl who'd been killed on that road. Absolutely distraught and seeing firsthand the devastation that can bring. I've since retired, and there are still fatalities on that piece of road. So I can't say anything more than let's just get this done and make people's driving lives safer on that road.
Chair, may I say a few words as the local ward member? Is that possible?
You will. I was just about to introduce you, Councillor Lake, so go ahead.
That's very kind. Thank you, Nick, for that. Yes, indeed. I mean, we've all got our own memories of this road. I had an accident on the road 40 years ago. Somebody went into the back of me and it wrote my car off, and I was very lucky to get out of it with only an injured neck. There have been a lot of casualties on this road. The figures speak for themselves. I've got 2 comments to make. Since we've closed the crossing point at Loscombe Cross, there's anecdotal evidence, certainly from local parish councillors, and I've noticed it myself as a regular driver going along the road between Bradford Abbas and Sherborne, of people now coming out of unusual places where traffic used not to come out of, and I think that's almost entirely due to the closure of the crossing point at Loscombe Cross, and people are now seeking out alternative places because there are an awful lot of crossover points along this stretch of 4-mile stretch of a carriageway. Indeed, over the weekend I received a notification of another accident which resulted in the westbound closure of the highway for a period on Thursday evening. So I hope we're going to have a look at that as part of this overall scheme to improve highway safety there. And one last comment, and that's about the plan which is shown on page, I think it's 462 of the report, where it's proposing that you have an average speed camera located on Babylon Hill at the western end. The problem that I see with that location, and I think it needs some discussion perhaps with the highways team, is that area is frequently a place where there are long queues of traffic going into Yeovil. And it strikes me that if you're going to have an average speed camera located in a place where there is slow moving traffic regularly, it's going to affect the overall average speed between the midpoint camera and the Western End camera, and perhaps we can have a conversation about that.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Legg. Yes, we can certainly have a discussion about that with the highways team. And also, I understand where you're coming from to the crossing points. There are particular crossing points that cause a hazard, and the highways team are already looking at that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Brown and then Councillor Fry.
Thank you. My name's Piers Brown. I'm the ward member for Cranbourne Chase Ward, so nowhere near Sherborne or Yeovil. I just wanted to ask the portfolio holder what other options were considered, how the returns on investment compare to those options considered, and therefore why the it's 1.1 in the papers, but in the road local transport plan it's 1.3 million. Therefore compares against the return on investments of other road safety traffic schemes around the county, including accident black spots in my ward.
Sorry, I couldn't comment on the accident black spots in your ward, but every death costs the country, not necessarily the council, £3.2 million. So I think that's a pretty good return on investment.
Sorry, Ger, I asked how it compares to other proposed interventions.
I can't answer that question off the top of my head, but I don't know if Jack Wiltshire will be able to answer that.
Jack Wiltshire, Corporate Director for Highways and Engineering. Yes, the answer to that is it does score well. So this, as we said, is funded through Department for Transport's improvements funding, and they require us to demonstrate the return effectively on the investment. Where we demonstrate a number of seriously injured people and fatalities, this does, it sounds quite cold, but effectively it scores well against the level of risk which is linked on that road. We can share, if you would like, the full assessment of all the local transport programme to show exactly where it ranks.
Yes, please. That would be really useful in relation to a conversation I'm having about accident black spot in my ward. My second question, again, was for the portfolio holder. Last month, you were championing the fact that Dorset didn't have any average speed cameras. This month, you're now advocating for them. And last month, so you had a month's warning on this question, was are you happy with the impact on civil liberties of the state monitoring people at every moment while on that piece of roadway?
I certainly am, especially the civil liberties of those who have died and seriously injured on that road.
Councillor Fry.
Thank you, Leader. It's Councillor Les Fry, Dorchester West. I speak with a degree of experience on this particular road, having been the Dorset Police Inspector covering this area for many years. My officers had to go along and pick up the bits from those crashes, deal with the fatalities and the traffic officers there as well. This was a road, and I hear what my colleague says about the other options available, but this is one of those roads where it's very difficult to put other options in. You take your cameras out, your speed cameras out, they slow down, you go away, they speed up again. Car enthusiasts were absolute bane of that bit of road through there to Yeovil, and they come back again. So I would welcome this, absolutely welcome these cameras. Just for clarification, the costs are coming from the government, the Department of Transport, but also all the revenue goes back to the government. Can we just clarify that for anybody listening to this meeting, because they may not be reading the papers? Thank you.
Mr. Wiltshire.
On the technical point about the revenue return, yes, it's quite right. Anything which is a penalty charge or effectively a speeding fine goes to central government. The exception to that is if a driver awareness course is offered, that money is retained locally by Dorset Police and can be used by the police for improvements in road safety locally.
Any other questions, comments? Nope. In which case, let me just do a show of hands for the recommendations to set out. All those for? It's unanimous. Thank you. So the next paper is the one that Councillor Clifford needs to leave for. Let's let him leave from here. So this is item 14. This is the closure of the Dorset Local Enterprise Partnership, as we all know, the LEP. So Councillor Biggs is going to introduce this.
Good evening again. So while the finance is very much in Councillor Clifford's domain, the spending of money for economic growth is very much in my domain. So I would really welcome this, is technically taking back control and repatriating funds to both BCP and ourselves in equal measure, which is 4.640 million pounds. So that's a sizable sum of money, but it has to be used for economic growth purposes. It can't be used for anything else. I'm sure we won't have a problem in identifying needs for that going forward, because a lot of things bubbling up. There are a number of recommendations there. There's a lot of technicalities around this to ensure that it is done correctly and we exit correctly, because it's about capital loan repayments, etc. And then there's an element of revenue as well. There was also an option not to accept the funds, which I found quite interesting. Why would anyone do that? I don't know, but I guess officers have to put that in for completeness. But we have decided that we definitely do want the money back. So I would wholeheartedly recommend the recommendations in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Biggs. I think Councillor Robinson was down to second this.
Steve Robinson, Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care. Very happy to second.
Thank you. Any questions? Nope. In which case, we'll do a show of hands again. All in favour of the 7 recommendations? That is unanimous. Thank you. We can fetch Simon back in. So the next paper is future leisure management. So this is in 2 parts. There is an exempt appendix. So if you wish to discuss anything that's in there, and hopefully you read it, so you'll know what's in the appendix 2, please say so before you say something you shouldn't, and we'll have to go into exempt. We do have an exempt paper after this, but we definitely do have to go into exempt business. So, the Councillor Ryan Hope will introduce the future leisure management, and just bear that in mind.
Yes, thank you very much, Leader. Councillor Ryan Hope, Cabinet Member for Customer Culture, Community Engagement, that includes leisure. This evening I'm delighted really to move this paper forward, because I think it shows our ambition and commitment to actually investing and going further with our leisure provision here in Dorset. Dorset Council's leisure services play a vital role in supporting the health, well-being and resilience of our communities. As the Council continues to prioritise the lifestyles, preventing health and high-quality local facilities, this report sets to clear the proactive approach to securing a sustainable and modernised leisure offer by the future. It's no surprise here to members that obviously we are looking at our leisure strategy as a whole, and we have a EAP currently looking at that. And what this paper does is gives that EAP a bit of breathing space to look at, to finalise its work, and then we can go out and look to seek potentially a single operator for the whole of Dorset in the future, which would make it a much better service, we believe, for our residents. With that, I'd like to move recommendations 2.1 to 2.3 en bloc.
Thank you, Councillor Hope. Councillor Clifford, I believe you're second.
Yeah, happy to second. I'll take any questions I can.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Brown.
Sorry, I'm feeling like I'm doing half the speaking this evening. I just wanted to ask, the move to have a large-scale single operator may exclude some small and medium-sized businesses for tendering for that work. Bearing in mind the work that particularly the Overview Committee has been putting into supporting the Dorset Pounds, how do you balance value for money to the taxpayer against supporting the Dorset economy, bearing in mind economic development money we were speaking about 2 minutes ago.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor, for your question. I think it's, to give any business the opportunity to tender is obviously important as we go in. However, we are looking for the best provision here of our service for the best of our residents. Many of our facilities are coming to the end of their life, and we need to make sure that whoever operates them has a can invest across the whole of Dorset for the benefit of our residents. I don't know if Richard's got anything to add to that as the economic brief holder.
Not really, but I would certainly echo that the investment future is something that's really important, and there certainly is an equation, balancing that with economic growth in the areas, getting people, the health benefits of getting people back to work is something that many of the leisure centres do very effectively, but they need the kit there, and those good functioning leisure centres that people want to go to is all part of that. So yes, I'd support that.
Any other questions? No. In which case I'll move to a vote again. Show of hands in favour of the recommendations as set out. That's unanimous. Thank you. So the next item is urgent items. Item 16, there aren't any. And then, as I said earlier, we need to go into exempt business. So I need to read out the usual phrases. The exempt item, if you haven't read the agenda, is the acquisition of land neighbouring Dorset Innovation Park. So I need to read out that in accordance with section 100A, brackets 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, to exclude the public from the meeting for the business specified in the item below, because it is likely that if the members of the public were present, there would be disclosure to them of exempt information as defined in paragraphs 3 of Part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act, and that the public interest in withholding the information outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information to the public. So can I have a proposer for that, please? Somebody stick your hand up. Councillor Sutton, a seconder. Councillor Andrews, thank you. All in favour? Yeah, okay, in which case we can go to exempt. We'll just pause the stream. Thank you.